Good evening and welcome to the 8 p.m. Hurricane Laura, update in the Gulf of Mexico. Hurricane Laura continues to strengthen. Winds now up to 85 miles an hour, sustained winds, and the movement continues west-northwest at 17 miles an hour. And the pressure has fallen to 983 millibars. And so it is still a Category 1 on the Saffir-Simpson scale. If it reaches winds greater than 96 miles an hour overnight, it will be upgraded to a Category 2 hurricane. So it's very close to that, very close to that mark right now. And we do anticipate it to increase to a Category 2 as it has fought off a lot of wind shear and has also fought off a lot of dry air. And so Laura looks poised to become a strong Category 2, borderline Category 3 hurricane before making landfall somewhere east of Houston, Texas, probably in the Beaumont area and Lake Charles area. So, and in addition to that, what's changed, the good news is that the hurricane force winds only extend out 45 miles from the center, 175 miles of tropical storm force winds, and so that's good. That is the good news. And also the good news is that the forecast cone has not shifted any more west toward the metro Houston area. So that is good. The latest forecast cone shows that Laura will be quickly moving from 1 a.m. Thursday to 1 p.m. Thursday, would already have been almost out of Texas and Texarkana and into Arkansas, the tropical storm, by Friday morning. So it's going to be a quick moving hit. And the good news is, like I said, is that it's making landfall to the east of the Houston area. So that means Houston will be on the west side of this system. So Houston can expect to get right now probably about 2 to 3 inches of rain. And winds may be gusting to 50, 60 miles an hour. Sometimes it may occasionally gust to hurricane force, but they will be on the weaker side of the system, as most of the tropical storm force winds and hurricane force winds are on the eastern side, northeastern quadrant of this system. And so if you're not in Cameron, Louisiana, or Lake Charles, or Beaumont, then you should be okay in terms of the winds and the storm surge. If you are in those areas, you should evacuate because a major hurricane is coming, and a storm surge of 9 to 12 feet is possible in those areas. And so, if you're already below sea level, that could be dangerous and life-threatening. So I would suggest finding higher ground and evacuating from those areas and coming back later on when things calm down, as this will be a quick moving system. Something to note on the satellite picture here, as you can see, there is rapid deep convection around the center, but there is no eye yet. The eye is covered over in what's called central dense overcast, which is just a fancy word that means that it's cloud filled. The eye is cloud filled at this moment, but that does not mean that the system is not growing. So as you can see here, the system is moving, and there's not much wind shear here, in here, this environment. So you can see the clouds are fanning out like a fan on top from the high levels of atmosphere. That means that it's strengthening, but it's strengthening slowly. It could be a rapid intensification, but it's not. And you can see in that last frame here, there is an eye right there trying to develop here, but it's not completely symmetrical. It's more elliptical and oval shaped. And that means to tell you that the storm is trying to form an eye wall, but it hasn't quite got that act together yet, but it will. So by tomorrow morning, it should present a better presentation of an eye wall in an eye as it continues to intensify and consolidate itself here underneath this central core of rotation. Now, in tomorrow morning, you will those in Lake Charles and Beaumont and Houston will see an increase of winds coming out of the northeast, but it will be just light, nothing tropical storm force yet. That will be coming later Wednesday evening, probably about 8 o'clock p.m. around that time Wednesday evening, tomorrow evening. You should be feeling some of the tropical storm winds from this system, from Laura. And there won't be much rain. Some of these outer bands do contain a little bit of rain, but it wouldn't be anything crazy like we had with Harvey or Ike or Imelda. But there will be some rain bands rotating in as well for those areas. And you see this stuff, this cloud streaming here from the southwest. That's the trough that took up Marco, the remnants of Marco, and right here. And so this this same trough here is going to pick up Laura and take it up through the Arc of Tex, and on up through past Memphis and on out back out to sea. So that's what they're counting. This same trough here, along with a trough that's in the northeast that's coming down right now, a frontal boundary, is going to pick up Laura and take it back out the Atlantic, back out to sea, as of course a much weaker depression. So that's what we have to look forward to, and that's also what's going to weaken this system once it gets on land. So we could have hurricane force winds, though, extending up some 50, 60, 70 miles from the coast up towards Shreveport, and then it'll die out and, go to a tropical storm and etc. But still, most of the heavy convection now is wrapped almost completely around the center. There's still a little bit of weakness on the southeast side of the system, but that will fill in as it was ingesting some dry air, but that's starting to dissipate now. So you can see the fan out, the high cirrus clouds. These are high cirrus clouds, some 30,000 feet, 40,000 feet up in the atmosphere, that are fanning out across the eastern Gulf of Mexico here. So good outflow pattern. The inflow is improving. And that's the effects that we can expect with Laura. So Laura may end up just becoming the first major hurricane, because to have a major hurricane, you have to have winds over 111 miles an hour. That's the Category 3 minimum. And I believe we're just going to make it just before landfall. As the Hurricane Center has here, this M means a major. H is for hurricane. So we're just going to make it there just before it makes landfall sometime early Thursday morning. And then that's it. That'll be pretty much the end of the fanfare for Hurricane Laura. At this point, there is no changes in the track, so that's good news. And so it's just going to continue to do its thing. It's out in open water, and it doesn't have much shear. It's moving fast. Now, the only thing that we may have trouble with is if it slows down. And right now, the steering currents appear to be very strong because it's moving above 15 miles an hour. Or 10 miles an hour. Anything moving above 10 miles an hour is zipping along at a fast pace. That means that high pressure, that Bermuda High, and that's near the high pressure near Florida, is very strong. And so it's steering Laura, continuing on that west-northwest path as anticipated. And so as we get closer now, the only thing that can change is once it gets its eye tomorrow, is if it wobbles. So it could wobble to the right or wobble to the left. And the Hurricane Center will be adjusting for that once we get less than 100 miles from landfall. Right now, the system is still about 385 miles south of the Mississippi River or so. And so, we still have time to watch it up until tomorrow. As you see, they've issued all the storm surge warnings and hurricane warnings have been issued for Laura. And so we're just now in a waiting mode. All your preparations should be done. And you should be just hunkered down waiting for this system to come through, because in anything, you could lose power with this system. Those in the Houston area, Galveston area, Beaumont, even though you're on the western side of this system, you could lose power. Anything above 35 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour can cause power outages. And also with the flooding too, they might just shut off the power. So be prepared to have some food, water, medicine, and supplies to last you probably 3 to 5 days roughly. And then after that, things should go back to normal. But the good news is also after this, at least after this passes, you're going to see some beautiful clear skies, beautiful weather. For the Texas all the way over to the Alabama, Florida Gulf Coast, just beautiful clear weather once Laura passes let's say after Thursday and Friday. This weekend should look absolutely fabulous here for that region here. So let's take one look at the cone one last time. You can see it. And that is the cone. That's the forecast path. And it hasn't much deviated that much. All the models are consensus on that border between Texas and Louisiana to come in. And so that tells you that the high pressure is very strong. The steering currents are strong. There's not much out there to hinder the progress of Laura at this moment. And, that's what we're going to have. So check back in the morning. I expect in the morning for this to be a Category 2 storm. And the winds in the morning should be around 95 to 100 miles an hour. That is the forecast for the morning time advisory at 8 a.m. The next advisory is at 11 p.m. And I don't think we'll see much changes other than another uptick in the winds. Like I said, it probably will get Category 2 designation. It could be as early as tonight at 11 p.m., but I think 8 a.m. is when they'll officially make it a Category 2 with winds over 100 miles an hour, 105 miles an hour. But all it needs is winds over 96 miles an hour, which it could get in this next mission when we go out and see when the air hunters go out and look at it again. But That is what we have right now. And so just be safe, everybody. If you're out there, our prayers are with you in that part of the country, and you'll be fine. Just hunker down, and it'll pass by very quickly. This is a quickly moving system, and so it'll be out of your hair in a little while, and you'll be back to normal, life as normal, or as normal as we can get it right now during these COVID times. But yeah, and I'll be back with you in the morning. Take care. Have a great day.